is the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show, presented by Pizza, Wings, and Things in Temple. Our weekly conversation with Temple Wildcats Coach Stewart. Here's our host, Oliver Stone.
KTEM Newsradio 1400, Temple Wildcat Coaches Show. Oliver Stone here with you for another edition here with Coach Stewart after Temple Wildcats were victorious over the Belton Tigers 38-31. And definitely it lived up to the hype, any and everything you could ask for with the rivalry game. You had the ups, downs, everything. Coach, like I said, we got a dub. We're victorious. On to the next. But I know definitely most important thing, the biggest, I guess, change from your team was from the first to the second game. So, I know you'll definitely have to be looking forward to getting back on the practice field this week.
Yes, sir. If you're a good team, the most improvement is from the first to the second game. That's how this game operates. Bad teams kind of stay the same. Good teams, they improve. So I don't know if we're a good team or not. I'll tell you next Friday.
Okay.
But that's going to be our emphasis. Is we're gonna that was a grow up game for us. A lot of inexperience. We don't have a lot of sophomores out there, but we got a lot of guys that have never played at that level under those lights, especially as starters. We have some guys with a 12 next to their name on the grade sheet that may have been on varsity last year, but weren't big time contributors. Mm-hmm. So, and they are now. And so part of that's growing up. And when you go against a good team like Belton, that's what you get. How cool is that atmosphere, though?
Man, I promise you that was something to be up in the press box and I'm seeing y'all, the Temple side fill up, and what got my attention more than anything is just this long line of Belton people trying to come in, because I guess it's just the one entrance over there, and it's just literally, it's stretched back to Chick-fil-A.
It's awesome.
It was just like,
it was playoff atmosphere. And
definitely.
That's the kind of atmosphere you want early, because you're either going to grow up or you're going to throw up. You know what I mean? Especially with the inexperience we have, that's a grow up game. And if you use it as a grow up game, and especially if you play poorly like we did at times, and you find a way to come back and win, it's obviously a blessing in disguise. Even if you lose, sometimes a loss is only a loss if you don't get better from it. You know what I mean? That's where you truly lose. But we were fortunate enough to pull it out, and we still get to learn some of those hard life lessons.
Exactly. So, before we go any further, definitely blessings to the kid from Belton. He broke his leg?
Yeah, he dislocated his ankle was the preliminary report. I've reached out to Coach Skidmore and just see if they need anything or anything like that. But,
ankle?
It was a dislocated ankle. Went out there and kind of told the kid he did a great job and stuff like that. But, it looked kind of gross. And everybody wonders why we don't take a knee and why my deal is, first of all, I did my homework. That started in Little League. That started with a Little League mentality of there's no trainers, there's no doctors, so I'm going to go take care of this kid. Y'all take a knee while I go do this so I don't have to babysit you. I watch games on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't see people take a knee. You know what I mean? So I get quite a bit of kickback. But I'm going to tell you, the other part, and I've had this happen before, is you sit there taking a knee and you see a kid writhing in pain. That's not what I want my kids seeing, because that's a very real possibility. I want them focused on what we're doing. That's no disrespect to them. There's no disrespect to anybody that's down. I've said a prayer for that kid, and I've reached out and see if they need anything. And our kids clapped and sent our best wishes to him. So prayers that he gets healthy, and I don't know if he can return or not. It looked pretty nasty, but you never know. They can do amazing things with medicine nowadays.
Yeah, that's a very true statement with that.
Yeah.
But so we'll get to talking about our offense. So definitely with quarterback with TJ Rumfield, I know we had kind of the ups and downs. I feel like at times we've definitely seen that gunslinger mentality. If I know 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. So there's definitely times where I feel like you're like, okay, go, but then I feel like sometimes you could have easily have thrown it away,
right?
Or
that's probably, you got to understand this, Oliver. That kid hadn't played since he was a sophomore. He's a senior now, but he missed an entire year to injury last year. One of those gruesome kind of injuries, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to stand by my quarterback, and we don't win that game without TJ Rumfield.
Oh, that's a very true statement.
He made 2 throws that were errant. They made 2 throws that were bad decisions. That's what we're going to try to work with him on, is a decision-making. The third pick he had, it went right through the receiver's hands, tipped it up.
Good tip drill.
So, you can't – it goes against the quarterback stats, but, everybody wanted – and everybody got a little bit nervous about that. Look, he's our quarterback. He's going to be our quarterback until we decide otherwise. We're going to be a little bit patient with him in pre-district because he is a competitor. After that third interception, which was a bonehead throw, I finally saw him get fiery. He's a competitor, and I've seen that before. I just hadn't seen it this season. And he he finally got hacked off. I don't know if I can say that. I don't want to,
Right.
usually say the other one.
You're good. You're good.
But he got pretty ticked, and I went over there and hugged him. I said, "No, that's that fire right there. That's the fire we need to see. Now start, relax." I think he was pressing a little bit. He's trying to win the game with every throw, and you just got to let the guys work. You got to let those weapons you have work, and let the run game open some stuff up for you. And we probably got to kind of organize our play calling to do some of that as well. But I mean, you don't have to win it with every throw, and there is a time to hit that woman in the third row when you don't like what you see.
Definitely. I like kind of see we got like a slight little three-headed monster back there in the running game. And really saw it start to pay dividends later in the game. I know that last drive you could see it was just starting to Belton's defense was just like they were just tired.
Right.
Like you just gash.
Yeah.
It was kind of like what they were trying to do when Belton was on offense early. I feel like that was their mindset. They're going to use their big boys up front just to try to pound y'all because I know their run game was heavy.
Right. And they're big and they're huge up front. We kind of thought that was the case. We're going to see how well we stood up, and at some point conditioning takes over. But we actually have four back there that can tote the rock at a very, very high level, and that's the purpose of it. I mean, everybody's always critiqued me and said, you could use those kids in another position. Yeah, I could, but as a defensive guy, I'm going to tell you, it's disheartening when you got one back that comes in and pounds at you 6 times, and then they run a fresh one on and run one off, and then they keep doing the same thing. I mean, I realize the O-line gets tired of stuff like that, but tackling a fresh back is a lot harder than tackling an entire back.
Entire back, exactly.
And they'll all bring it. We got a couple of them that are more slashers than jukers, but we've got a little flavor, something for everybody back there. A couple of them are real good out of the backfield catching the ball, and Anthony Jefferson is just a straight running sledgehammer. So we're gonna keep that mentality. We're gonna run it back by committee. We're gonna try to keep them as selfless as possible, and not worry about how many touches you get. And then we'll just roll it from there.
I mean, I feel like you guys got a whole dose of thunder and lightning back there at times, and then you got some to give you a little of both. So it's definitely not a bad situation at all to just have a staple like that, because not everybody's that blessed.
Right. Oh, I know. I've been places that don't. And again, with a defensive mindset, I know what kind of mental drain that can be on you as a coach and a defensive player when they just keep running fresh guys out there.
Definitely. And then I know probably the biggest standout offensive-wise was Xavier Johnson. I think, 6 catches, like 154, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, just speed. More than anything, that speed was just evident when you saw him get loose. So definitely a big a high note there. No, that's just going to – as more and more as the season gets going, we know we're going to see more of that. And then, I see the defense was flying around. More than anything, what I love to see with the defense, it was just pursuit. It was one man's there, then everybody just And I feel like I know defense is your staple. I feel like, that's means the world to you to see your defense flowing around like that, because all those hats to the ball, it's just like, oh my.
That's not only, quote unquote, not only does it quote unquote make me happy, but it's an expectation. If you're gonna play defense in Temple, Texas, there's a standard, and if you can't meet that standard, I'll move you over to offense. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I need guys. We got 2 rules on defense. Number 1 is get your butt to the football. Number 2 is be pissed off when you get there. So. We've got to clean up. We've got to clean up some technique stuff. We got to clean up tackling. I know we talked about that earlier. We didn't tackle very well, especially during that lull, kind of ebb and flow of the game. And Belton has a lot to do with that. They've got some really high quality running backs and some skilled personnel, but still, we weren't even attempting to tackle with proper technique, and that's what bothers me more than anything, because we teach tackling probably more than most, and I don't know what everybody else does, but. We tackle circuit every single day of our lives. We do 5 days a week. We do some kind of tackling techniques, and so to kind of lose our brain a little bit, that comes with inexperience. But we kind of lost our brain a little bit and just started trying to throw our bodies around, which I appreciate the effort of that. But you can't bring big backs down and good backs down just kind of throwing yourself around. You got to wrap, you got to roll, you got to, there's a technique involved in everything we do, and so we just got to execute better.
Oh yeah, well, like we said, we got the Round Rock Dragons coming up this week, so I know we will get it right. We'll get back on this practice field. We know what time it is around here. So, KTEM Newsradio 1400. This is the Temple Wildcat Coaches Show. After we come back, we will get into Round Rock and what the expectations are for this week. All right, KTEM Newsradio 1400. Oliver Stone here with the Wildcat Coaches Show here with Coach Stewart, hosted to you by wings, pizza, and things. So, Coach, like I said, we got the Round Rock Dragons on the schedule this week. I mean, what are we looking like there?
It'll be very similar in style. I mean, they're huge up front. They got big kids. They play really, really hard. Coach Cheatham does a great job with them. I mean, they are a high effort, high motor, high intensity, high physicality team. And again, it's just going to be one of those grinded out games. Where it's going to be a pound fest. And with these games, and we've got 4 of them that are going to be very, very similar in style. Not necessarily similar in opponent, but similar in style with this just, bloodletting death row type, schedule is, can you stay healthy? Can you survive this gauntlet of 6A very, very high quality opponents? I mean, I think the Dragons went 4 rounds deep last year, and they've done that several times in the last decade. And so, I mean, you won't find a higher quality, a better coached, a higher motor team. They execute well. They don't make many mistakes, and it's going to be a tough one.
I mean, I definitely know this is. I mean, I feel like this is why we have this mentality here where we go deep, and I mean, y'all have such this rigorous non-district schedule. I feel like it does nothing but really just get y'all prepared for when district gets around. So I mean, because I know you have some other teams who may go a little lighter and stuff, but I feel like obviously you won't have the same success y'all are having here. And be prepared for when it gets to the nitty gritty. You got to find that little extra in you to push through. So I mean,
it's a double-edged sword, Oliver. I mean, obviously the benefit of it is you do get. I mean, when you play perennial 6A playoff teams, your entire schedule before you get to district, you're obviously going to get some playoff type experience from that, which helps. The other side of the coin or the other side of the sword is, can you stay healthy? What I mean? Like, can you take that kind of beating week in and week out and survive? Because what we lack that they may not, just because of numbers, is depth. What I mean? You take one guy out of our lineup, and now we start spinning and moving people positions because I may not have a true backup right there. I may have a body, but I may have to move this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And then what you do is you start rotating your personnel so that you get the lesser of the evils on the field. I may have a backup, for example, I may have a backup linebacker, but our defensive end may be our next best linebacker. So then I got to move the defensive end over there. I got to move the defensive tackle to the defensive end. Now I got to put my next defensive tackle in there. So it's a spin game. It's a numbers game. It's I think the quality of opponent and the playoff experience outweighs the risk of getting hurt. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want to do. I like having a tough schedule because I think our kids learn a lot. But that's just a concern. It's just trying to keeps guys fresh and just not get the crud beat out of them.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think if many people understand how much of a grind football is. You get. I know when I was playing, and I'm pretty sure you can relate back to when, you were on the field. It's just such a grind mentality. You basically wake up and, expect, how your day is going to go.
Right.
You got to do this. You got your weights. You got to do this, whatnot. It's just a grind. And then you still at the same time, still got to handle your schoolwork and whatnot and handle your business off the field as well. So, I don't think a lot of people from the outside looking in realize just the grind that football is.
Yeah, it is. It's and what I like about the quote unquote the grind is the routine involved with it. I mean, while it is a grind, at least it's a routine. Because teenagers, I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like Labor Day holiday because we get up in the morning, which breaks the routine of a teenager, and then so then you it's a whole lot of all the problems. I like the kind of consistency of a schedule and the just that they know what they're going to get day to day. And so, we don't have a holiday for a while. And so I'm hoping that we can kind of get in our rhythm and get in our flow and kind of get, this is exactly what every Monday from now is going to look like. This is exactly what Tuesday is going to look like. When they get in that rhythm, they tend to do okay.
Exactly. I feel like, consistency is key. Once you're used to it, it's like, okay, this is what we're doing. And like you're saying, those little holidays and whatnot can kind of,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It throw a kink and everything. And so, I mean, we had a good practice yesterday. I don't want to suggest we didn't, but, we practiced in the morning just to try to get them a little bit of time in the evening off. And it took us a little bit to get them going. It's just a break in the routine.
Yeah,
teenagers are routine characters. And so,
And it just adds something to actually, you're so used to practicing, right after school, then now you got to kind of find this morning energy, you know. Because
Right.
I'm pretty sure you probably had a bunch of probably was a little slow getting off and going. And, you know, you got to get the, you know, the blood flowing, get the juices moving and whatnot. So
yeah, we tend to do stuff over when it's not done with high energy. So it didn't take them very long.
I
to fix
imagine.
it.
I know that's the worst. Like you feel like people going, you know, half stepping through, and you hear that whistle. Or you know I know we always UMSB have our little sudden change. Oh, get you some good up downs in.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, come on, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get it going.
No question. Do it right or do it again. That's kind of our motto.
Hey, do it right, do it light.
Yeah.
Hey.
There you go. Yeah, if you do it right, you don't have to do it very long.
Exactly. But man. So what are some big weapons we know of that Round Rock has? Or
They've got a quarterback. I mean, their quarterback he's a new guy. He's a very, very gifted kid. They've got a stable of running backs as well that just run the ball hard. You know, and obviously, as the week goes on, I kind of widen my gaze. I mean, early on in the week, all I do is focus on the opponent's offense because I have a defensive mentality, and I've got a defense coordinator, and I try to give him as much reign as I can. But I mean, we're going to run our system. We're going to run what we brought here 3 or 4 years ago, in 14, and that's what we're going to do. And so, you know, I'm not leaving that. I'm not a quote unquote CEO where I make all the business decisions. I let the defense guy call the defense, the offense guy call the offense. I mean, I'm very involved in the defensive game planning, and I have to be. I'm a ball coach. Every success I've ever had was being a ball coach. It wasn't being a politician or being an administrator. I do take that part of the job very seriously, and I do as good as I can. But that's the little bit of normalcy I get. I was. Everybody said, you know, what's the biggest surprise about the being an athletic director? It's how much stuff I deal with. It's not football. So, you know, game planning, Saturdays, Sundays, practice. That's my little taste of normalcy. And so I'm gonna be as involved in that as I can be. So when I talk about Round Rock, early on in the week, I'm usually talking more about their offense, but big O-line. You know. They seem to just churn those guys out. You know, the offensive linemen for the last 5 years have been, 6'3", 280, and all their backs are 5'10", 205. All their linebackers are 6 foot 210. All their DBs are 6'2", 185. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you what they are. I know Coach Cheatham personally, and they're very well coached. They're very, very hungry kids. They're very aggressive kids. I mean, they don't get this new age mentality coached into them. They get it coached out of them, and that makes for a good game. But they're a physical football team, and it'll be a challenge.
All right. Well, KTEM 1400 Wildcat Coaches Show going here. As you hear from Coach Stewart, we will have a nice little test on our hands this week with the Round Rock Dragons. But, hey, like I said, everybody got a plan till they get hit in the mouth. So, you know, when these Friday lights come on, we will see what happens in Round Rock. But keep it here to the Wildcat Coaches Show, hosted by Wings, Pizza, and Things. We got more coming at you. KTEM Newsradio 1400, Temple Wildcat Coaches Show. Oliver Stone here with you. Got Coach Sadler here, Coach Martin. As you know, I interviewed them last week going into the Belton game. And once again, congratulations on the win, you guys.
Thanks, appreciate it.
But so we got the Round Rock Dragons this week. How are we feeling about these guys?
You know, they're good. They're very simple with what they do, but they're very good at executing it. You know, they base out of a 3-4, and they're not going to get real complicated with what they do, but they are very good at what they do. They're very familiar with us. We're familiar with them in terms of what our offense does and what their defense does. So it'll be a week for us that execution is going to be key, because they're not going to throw a lot of tricky stuff at us, and we're not going to throw a lot of tricky stuff at them. It's just going to be who executes better.
Okay, so pretty much it sounds like they're pretty sound. I mean, it's not like they're finna just do anything special, out the wazoo at you, but with what they do, they're consistent with it, and you know what you're gonna get.
Very much so. They're usually fairly good sized kids. They remind me a lot of Westlakes and Midways and teams like that, just with size. They're pretty big up front. They've got good rangy linebackers. Their outside backers are good players. One of them's a transfer in from Lake Travis, so a kid that's got a lot of big game experience too. He's a good football player for him. So, like I said, they're not going to be real complicated, but they are going to be good at what they do, and so we'll have to execute well.
I know that's what Coach Stewart was telling me. He's saying they really just churn them out. He's talking about, across the, you kind of get size all across. He's talking about, you got your corners 6'2", 185, type business right there. So I'm like, ooh, that's high school right there, So definitely excited to see the challenge this week. I know, like I said, congrats on the dub again. And like I said, it was a very back and forth game. Like I said, we definitely had lots of highs, and I know we had low moments, but as I was telling Coach Stewart, I know with your good football teams, a lot of your growth, from the first to the second game. So I know y'all have to be very excited to, get back here on the field, get some tweakage and whatnot and get back out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have lots of things to clean up, obviously, from Friday night. I thought we did some things really well, and I was very proud of the way we were able to run the ball late in the game and kind of establish some stuff there. Belton's a good football team, and it was a hard fought game. I thought both teams played hard. I felt like we had a pretty good lull there in the second quarter to the beginning of the third quarter where we just weren't executing. Our kids struggled to execute some things, and the good thing we told them at halftime. The thing about where we are right now is we have not been stopped. We've stopped us, So if we just go out and execute, we felt like we would be okay in the second half, and the kids responded. TJ played well in the second half after the last interception, and that's a key to a starting quarterback. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make some bad throws. There's going to be things that go against you, and certainly proud of the way that he responded and rebounded from that, because he very easily could have folded up tent and fallen apart, and he didn't, and that's a sign of a good leader. Definitely.
You got to be able to fight through that adversity, because I know me, I'm up in the press box, watching everything, and I'm like, wow, you could see the toughness, and I feel like after that, the last interception, Coach Stewart was telling me, he kind of went and hugged him, and he kind of got that spark. And I feel like as your quarterback, you want them to have that dog, to be able to fight through, even when it's not looking the prettiest, Definitely wasn't the most beautiful stat line or anything, but hey, got the most important, got the W, so.
Well, his stats weren't bad either.
He
threw four and four tugs and had 3 picks, but, the thing about TJ is he's trying to make plays every time he throws a football, and that competitiveness and that fire in him gets him in trouble a little bit. And the picks in the middle of the field, those are things we can clean up, though.
Definitely.
Those are things in practice through film and everything that we do that we can clean up. He's going to get better from that.
Oh yeah, I know. I was telling Coach Stewart, I said I can kind of that gunslinger, mentality a little bit.
He's not afraid to throw the football.
Oh, at all. He can put it out there, but by any means, I was like, oh, I was like, oh my God, wow.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey.
And his experience just as an athlete in general, he's been a varsity baseball player since he was a freshman, so he's been in those fights. He's had to be the in the batter's box with the full count in the 7th inning, and you're down, and all those things, and so he's not throwing an interception to him did not deter him from throwing the ball. It didn't slow him down. He made an unbelievable throw to Xavier there. On the play, late in the third quarter to get us to within 1 score, I think, at that time. And again, it's just a kid that just unwavering in belief in himself, and I think the guys rallied around him too. I know I heard a lot of them, telling him keep his head up at halftime and things like that. So a lot of good things to build on.
And I definitely feel like that's definitely a strong point. You want to be able to feel like your team got your back, even when, you may have made a mistake or whatnot. If you see your boys still, hey, patting you on the head, hey, let's go,
Right.
We're not down on you, just keep fighting. We know you're going to get it done, and hey, man, I got it done. So definitely looking forward to seeing what he pulls out this week against Round Rock. I know y'all got to be excited for him to get back out there,
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited about it. We know we got a good game plan going into it. It's all about execution at this point in time. We're hoping we can continue the trend with the run game. We felt like our offensive line kids really, really stepped up and had a lot of growth in that ball game last Friday night. We're just hoping that we can continue the growth. It's a daily process for them. That's what we talk about with them every day, is that every day has to be your best day, your best practice, your best game. Everything that day has to be the best that you can get so that we can get to where we want to with those guys.
Yeah, because I know me doing the KRock 101.7 broadcast, I know that was kind of one of the big question marks. How's our offensive line going to do? And that looks like, especially I was telling Coach Stewart, that fourth quarter, you could just see Belton's defense was just dying. And I was just like, yeah, it's just a wrap. You know, I was just like, when you're a defense, I feel like, and especially the staple of running back y'all got, it's nasty. Like, yeah. I was just like, they keep them coming. It's just like, yeah, 6-7 plays. Oh, new one. Just, and I feel like as a, being a defensive player, that's the most annoying thing. You feel like you're starting to finally maybe get here's somebody new in, and like, yeah. So.
Well, there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they're all capable of taking it to the house at any point in time, and it's a luxury to have, I'll tell you that.
I'm telling you, real life got just a full dose of thunder and lightning and like a mix of everything there. So
they really, all 4 of them complement each other. You've got power, you've got speed, you've got shifty, you've got a mix of power and speed. It's a 4-headed monster.
Like I said, that's gonna be heck for anybody to have to deal with, especially once things get rolling. That's just after the first game. You see, we already talking about it, so we know it's just gonna get better. But that's gonna wrap it up. KTEM Newsradio 1400 Wildcat Coaches Show. If y'all want to come out to Wings, Pizza, and Things on Fridays, 12 to 1 every Friday, Temple has a game. We will be there, and we'll be handing out our KRock 101.7 Temple Wildcat football shirts. A lot of those were in the stands, blew out the stadium and whatnot. So make sure y'all come in, show us some love there. Make sure you come. If you can't come out to the game in Round Rock, make sure you tune in on KRock 101.7 where the broadcast will start at 7 p.m. on Friday. Hey, good luck, guys.
Thank you very much.